Story is the odd even formula, one that Delhi needs to stick with or abandon because of what's happened today, where pollution levels have not really been affected significantly. They've seen an increase in certain areas. Some areas there's been decrease as well. We'll talk about this. We have Professor Suresh Jain of the Delhi University. He's been working on air pollution for several years now. And we also have senior journalist Anil Anand. Before I go across to my guests, let me go across to my colleague and correspondent Amrit Pal to get an update on what the situation is like. The streets look fairly deserted. The roads look fairly deserted behind you, Amrit. Even now, although it is after 8 p.m. and the prohibition or the restriction is no longer there. But just tell us what you witnessed through the day on the roads of Delhi, people complying. And that is something that should be appreciated perhaps. But would people be disappointed with the results on day one of the even odd formula?
Well, clearly people complied with it. The cars out on the roads were far less. In fact, if we look at the violators or the challans, about close to about 150 challans have been. Only about 150 people were challaned. Both the Delhi Police, Traffic Police, the enforcement teams of the Delhi Transport Department, and some SDMs were challanning people. But given the number of challans, it clearly points out the violators were very, very few. So by and large, people complied. It was a good decongestion measure. People did not. The roads of Delhi were far. There was far less traffic today. Jams, massive jams, which we see, and after the office hours, during office hours in the morning or in the evening, we did not see that on the roads. So clearly, yes, as a decongestion measure, it worked. Per anti-pollution measure, the figures point out to the contrary. That only goes on to show, Gautam, that vehicular pollution is a very small component of the overall pollution. So therefore, I guess the government will have to now look at taking other measures like the peripheral issues of biomass burning in neighboring states, and which goes on unabated. So I think that's where the focus would be. But the Delhi streets were less crowded. But one reason could also be because it's a long weekend. Tomorrow is Saturday, Sunday. People, private offices were closed today. Colleges, schools haven't reopened. So Monday is when we would get a better idea of how Delhiites react to it and what their reactions really are.
Oh yes, the mad rush to office will really begin on Monday, and the government is saying that it's prepared, but we'll have to wait and see. Thanks a lot for joining us, Amit. And let me go across to Professor Jain to understand why have the figures emerged the way that they have today, Professor Jain. Could you explain to us? Because I believe the impact was supposed to be about 15%, 10% in terms of the reduction of the even number cards not being there, 10% because of the dust that is 5% because of the dust that is raised. But we've not seen that sort of an impact today.
Yeah, you see, like the numbers which comes in terms of air pollutants in the evening is really different one. But if we're talking about the afternoon ones, so there was a reduction in the PM10 levels, and it was approximately, you can say, from 10 to 30%.
I see.
But yes, definitely in the evening, the air quality is not only dependent on the sources, it's completely governed by the meteorology. And meteorology is one of the most important parameter which allow the dispersion of air pollutants. And that shows like this is not
By meteorology, you mean all the factors of temperature, wind,
humidity, you can say the ceiling height. So we generally say the mixing height of the pollutants. So in the evening, if you see the stability conditions are more prominent, and that's not going to allow the pollutants to move in the vertical direction. And if you see that today's the wind speed is also not that high, it's a more of like calm conditions are there. So one can say that's not going to allow the more pollutants to move from one point to another point that much compared to in the sunny day. So that was one of the reason, like obviously the emission levels are shooting up in the evening hours. And it's also given an indication the vehicular emissions is not only one of the solutions.
Okay. Yes.
Or
that-
one of the sources.
So this is the odd even formula is not like a silver bullet for Delhi air pollution problems.
So we have to take lots of other measures also. And that one important point is, yes, this is one good initiatives.
Okay.
People are responding to it, and huge awareness is there. So that's, you can say, the positive side of the that particular
So
measure.
is this something, if I am a Delhi commuter, I do travel using my car. I happen to have both even and odd number, but that's besides the point. The point is, the common commuter will wonder whether this is something that needs to be stuck with or abandoned.
You see, it's a today I told, like, it's a command and control measure, and this is one of the type of measures which can stop the pollution. But it should come voluntarily, by the behavioral changes only, and then you can say, like, yes, the pollution level is going down. But at the same time, we know, like, what is the situation of our public transport system. So it means we have to upgrade the public transport system. There should not be any politics behind that. We have to bring those infrastructures parallelly, and at the same time we have to bring lots of other measures. Not only this is one of the measure is going to help you. Definitely people will go within other alternative, because gradually you see the benefit will definitely going down.
But Anil, just like polluted air, politics seeps in everywhere, and this issue has also been a highly politicized one. And based on the first day experience, do you feel that this is something that Arvind Kejriwal might have to back down on or be very cautious on in terms of applauding? Because he very early in the morning said right after 2 hours that it's been successful, which many have serious doubts about.
You rightly pointed out, Gautam, he has been very, very defensive. Although he claimed success within 2 hours, but he never committed throughout the day whether this experiment would go beyond 15 days or what will happen, what other measures would be taken.
And in the evening, we saw Mr. Jain saying that it's at least stirred up a debate.
Certainly, certainly. It would stir up a debate. What I'm trying to say, as the professor said, it has to be all-encompassing. You ban vehicles for a day, for 2 days, or for 15 days, or partly ban, or even whatever formula you bring in. End of the day, we all of us have to commute, and we either there is a strong public transport system as a backup, or you have certain other measures.
Right.
Only piecemeal efforts like this, maybe it brings down the pollution levels. I'm not an environmentalist. It may bring down the level for a while, or may not. But this is not a long-term solution at all. I think we need to have a long-term planning, and all these efforts at fighting environmental pollution have to be bereft of or far removed from politics. What happens is, now today's moment, for the past few days we have been observing, it got seeded in politics. And the sabotage theory which Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal was propounding fell flat within 2 years.
Yes.
Because he claimed within 2 years that everything is fine.
Yes.
All components have cooperated. Even Delhi police, which he had tried to portray as villain of this entire
I think the
piece.
people of Delhi have to be applauded.
Absolutely. Primarily, yes.
It just shows that they're really worried about the kind of air that they're breathing.
But what I'm trying to say is, all those who have to put in a coordinated effort, they all lacked it. Including Delhi police.
Yes.
He was in a way trying to blame the center for trying to efforts to sabotage through the bureaucrats or through Delhi police. But the entire thing fell flat. I think there is a lesson for Mr. Kejriwal also in this, not to politicize all these issues. These issues are directly related to my children, your children, Mr. Kejriwal's family, every family. These should be viewed over and above politics.
Yes, so certainly he can go beyond at least feeling the victim as far as this particular situation is concerned. But when you talk about restrictive measures, do you feel that is the way to go in other spheres as well, apart from taking to the road? There could be restrictions that could be imposed in say construction and other economic air polluting activities. Is that the way to go, or do we need something more radical, something which is more lifestyle changing and more environment friendly?
You see, both the things are very important. Behavioral change is very important, because ultimately, which I discussed last time also, whenever you see you are using energy, whatever source is, whether it is in terms of electricity, whether it is in terms of to drive your vehicle, the fuel you are using, so it means you are creating pollution, whether it is in the city or somewhere else. So by changing in your behavior, if you are reducing your demand, so certainly you are reducing the air pollution level. This is one. And certainly like one measure is not going to resolve the issue. So you have to see the different reports also talks about the construction, you see, as a contributor. Road dust, or you can say the dust which is there along the roadsides, which is also one of the contributor. The people who use to burn the refused waste, or the you can say the solid waste, that is another you can say source of air pollution. So we have to come up with a robust integrated policy, and one solution, one measure is not going to solve the issue. But
and certainly as far as this measure, it will be on for another 14 days. There was one huge area of grouse was auto drivers, and that's something that perhaps Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal should be looking at along with the Delhi police.
Yeah, unfortunately, the vote bank politics also comes in here. When you talk of auto rickshaws, the other side says no, there is a politics in it. I think that's why I'm saying the political component should altogether be removed out of it.
Okay.
If you bring in politics, we are a democracy, we are a bubbling democracy. There has to be, you know, the score settling issues or brownie point scoring things. So it has to be viewed as the professor said. It's a broader problem.
Yes.
It needs a multi-cornered approach. This is one approach. I think this is a welcome effort, I must say. At least the silver lining is that it has created started creating a public opinion. And secondly, I want to say, as you said, that should the strong measures be taken, people are not averse to sacrificing something for a better environment.
Clearly, today
that was crystal
very good
clear
example
today.
of that.
If anyone is now taking a refuge behind this thing, that strong measures may evoke some adverse reaction from people, I think then he
that
or she is
argument has
purely
been
playing
defeated.
politics.
Exactly.
That argument
Purely
has been
playing
defeated.
politics. People
Okay.
are ready to sacrifice for a good environment.
Okay, sounds great. So we have a lot to think of, a lot to mull over, and perhaps even observe and then perhaps assess at the end of these 15 days what really emerges on the air pollution battlefront, and we'll be doing that in our shows later on as well. Thanks for joining us for the time being. But best of all is that people think together and act together to tackle the problem of air pollution in Delhi. In fact, throughout the country, really.